I'm so sorry, girls. Your grandfather passed away this morning,
my mom said with sadness in her eyes. Then she smiled.
Poppy, he left you his entire fortune. Do you know what that means? No, Mommy,
Poppy replied. She was only 8 years old and didn't really understand anything but dolls and whatever nonsense the kids were into those days. You're a billionaire.
A what?
She replied. I rolled my eyes. You know how some 8-year-old kids are smart? Well, my sister definitely wasn't one of those. Before I continue, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You definitely won't regret it. Hit that notification bell to make sure you never miss out on any amazing stories. What do you mean he left his entire fortune to Poppy? I always knew that man was mad, but what does an 8-year-old know about money? Can she even use it before she turns 18? I asked.
There, Caroline. You sound a bit jealous. Well, to be honest, I'm jealous too. But according to his will, Poppy can get whatever she asks for.
My mom replied. We had been living a very ordinary life in the suburbs. My dad was an elementary school teacher and my mom was an interior decorator. My mom's parents were extremely wealthy, but when she met my dad, she decided that she was bored with all the glamour and just wanted a simple life. My dad didn't have much money, so a simple life is exactly what she got. My grandparents weren't too happy about the situation though, and they became very cold with my mom. My grandma died first and my grandpa a few years later. It was sad because he'd grown apart from his daughter. Then he died and left all of his money to Poppy. I thought that it must be a practical joke or a way for him to get revenge because it made no sense. We weren't talking about a few $100,000. We were talking billions here. Billions!
So what do you want to do with all your money first, honey?
My mom asked Poppy.
Toys! I want to buy lots of toys!
She squealed. Of course she does, I said while rolling my eyes. She left with my mom and returned about 3 hours later. I looked outside and saw a truck. Apparently, she'd bought almost everything in the toy store and my mom had let her. I ran downstairs and went outside to watch the truck driver unload the stuff. Mom, are you completely insane? Where is all of this stuff supposed to go? I asked.
Well, I was thinking we could use the living room, Poppy's room, and your room.
What had I done to the universe to deserve such a ridiculous punishment? I thought. So 3 weeks later, my bedroom was a playground. Sometimes I thought about setting Poppy's stuff on fire, but one afternoon after nearly tripping over a Lego and breaking my face, I got a bright idea. I ran downstairs to discuss with my mom. The billions belong to Poppy, right? But we can make our own money right now. How about making a YouTube channel and getting Poppy to review all these toys she bought?
What's a YouTube?
Never mind, Mom. I just need your permission. I'll do it all by myself, but the profits will belong to me.
Okay, honey.
I went to Poppy's room to tell her my idea. Hey, kiddo. You're rich now, but do you know what you're not?
What?
Famous. What's the point in having all this money and toys and nobody knows who you are? Do you want to be the most famous kid in the world?
That would be nice. How?
I explained my idea to her and she seemed excited. We went to the mall and bought loads of video making equipment. When we got home, we set up a little room where she could record her reviews. This went well at first. Poppy didn't gain popularity instantly, but I made sure I did whatever I could to market her channel. Before I knew it, I had lots of money saved, although it was still nothing compared to Poppy's fortune. Then, Poppy decided she wanted a new house and my parents took her to the wealthiest part of our state and let her choose it. It was a 5-floor mansion with 2 swimming pools, a tennis court, and a huge flower garden. She demanded that they repaint the house in unicorn colors, so pretty soon I found myself living in the most ridiculous-looking dollhouse in the country. At least I had my own room now, and it was not covered in toys. I was able to use money I earned from the channel to fill it with all the things I wanted. My parents had a huge housewarming party, and everyone was impressed.
Our daughter Poppy is famous, and her earnings paid for all of this.
My dad boasted. Dad, are you sure you're telling the truth? I asked, knowing very well that Poppy used her inheritance to buy the house.
Why would I lie to my friends?
My dad laughed uncomfortably.
We've raised such a smart daughter. She's a prodigy, actually. How does an 8-year-old get such a brilliant idea, begin reviewing toys, and then buy her parents a mansion? Hard work really pays off. Or maybe we just have excellent genes.
I was convinced my parents had gone mad. How could they let that silly 8-year-old take credit for my idea? Anyway, I didn't make a big issue because the quality of my life had improved a lot. But more and more, it seemed like I was becoming invisible to my parents. One evening at dinner, Poppy decided she wanted to drop out of school.
Mommy, Daddy, at the housewarming party, you said I was a prodigy. That means I'm super smart, right?
Prodigy. Ugh.
You're the smartest kid in the world. And you're rich and famous. You're the best daughter we could have ever asked for,
My mom said.
So, most people go to school so they can get jobs. But I already have a job making videos about toys. So why do I need to go to school? Plus, I'm already super smart.
You're 8 years old. You can't review toys forever. Do you know that many kids stop playing with toys eventually? I said.
Don't be so rude to your sister.
If you want to drop out of school, then sure. We'd have to hire someone to stay home with you, though. You're too young to be left unattended.
Can't you quit your job, Daddy?
Well, that's a good idea. But you'd have to pay me a salary.
In fact, my parents both left. But do you know what they did? They both quit their jobs. Then they hired 2 butlers and a maid. They convinced Poppy that it was necessary. So I lived with people who relaxed all day while I had to bust my brains at school, trying to make sure I got into a good college. Of course I was annoyed. One afternoon, I was ranting to my best friend, Millie, after class. Can you believe after all my hard work, Poppy gets the credit? She would have never had that YouTube channel if it weren't for me.
Well, Caroline, you have some money saved up, don't you? Why don't you start your own channel, reviewing things that you actually want to review? Focus on yourself instead of her, and I'm sure things will work out.
Wow, you're a genius! I could start a hair and makeup channel. We could start it together. It'd be so much fun, I said.
Yeah, I'd love that. So just let her channel die out, or your parents can help her to run it, and focus on yours.
We went shopping that very afternoon. I bought a whole bunch of products I'd never imagined myself using, and we went to my house and set up the channel. I designed a whole section of my bedroom for my videos, then created the first one. We created a schedule. Monday was for lipstick, Tuesday for eyeshadow, Wednesday for concealers and foundations, Thursday for mascaras and eyeliners, and Friday for random hair products. We took Saturdays and Sundays off because we'd need a break. At first, our channel was extremely slow, but that's how everything is in the beginning. In 3 months, we went from 50 subscribers to 10,000. After 6 months, we had about 500,000 followers, and some of our videos had millions of views. Poppy couldn't keep up though, because I had begun to ignore her and my parents. I couldn't really stand them. My sister had competition from other kid toy reviewers, so she eventually faded into the background. I overheard her talking to my parents one night and cried because I was laughing so much.
Mommy, I don't like YouTube anymore. No one is watching my videos. Well, what do you want instead, honey? Can we get some animals? I want animals. Animals? What kind of animals? Monkeys, wolves, elephants? Those types. You mean the ones we find in a zoo? Zoo, Mommy! Let's get a zoo!
I rolled my eyes, went to my room, and went to sleep. The next day, I came home from school and there were wild animals all over the huge garden. They were harmless ones, though. No lions or tigers anywhere. I barged into the house and began screaming at my parents. How on earth could you let Poppy get all these animals? You never even let me have a kitten when I was her age, and now she has kangaroos and zebras? You have got to be the most insane parents in the universe.
But that's what she wanted. She's our baby girl, and she gets whatever she wants.
You know you could have let her buy the zoo instead of bringing the zoo home. Who is going to take care of the animals? It's going to stink here.
Poppy, don't listen to your awful sister. Let's go and play with the koalas.
My dad said as he picked her up and swung her around. I marched up to my room, opened the door, and there was a baby giraffe in my room. I've got to admit, it was cute. But then it pooped on the carpet, so I screamed at my parents again. But they didn't care. My billionaire sister got whatever she wanted. I tried to shut them all out again and focus on my own channel. Millie and I were able to get several contracts from popular makeup companies. So we had extra money, and we were trying to decide what to do with it all.
Maybe we should start our own makeup line. We could name it Caramilly, a blend of our names. That would be so cool.
You always have the most brilliant ideas. We skipped school for the next 2 weeks to work on our makeup line. My parents didn't notice because they were too preoccupied with their favorite child. We were able to hire a few people to help us along the way, and we knew we'd sell our stuff quickly because we had so many followers. But just when we were about to launch the product, Millie gave me some disturbing news.
We don't have any money left.
What do you mean? I gasped.
We didn't budget for this thing properly, and we've run out because we had to pay the workers. I think we've got to wait a while before launching.
Just then, my mom barged into my room looking half scared and excited.
Caroline, you'll never believe what happened.
Well, if it's about your dumb 8-year-old child, I'm not interested.
The lawyer called about Dad's will. Apparently, it was an older version, and they found his most recent will. He's left all his money to you, Caroline.
She squealed. So why did he write the first one and then change his mind? I asked in disbelief.
You know your grandpa was an alcoholic. He was probably drunk. Anyway, you're missing the main point, my dear, dear favorite daughter. You're rich.
I nearly fainted and Millie had to grab a chair and get me to sit.
Do you understand what this means?
Yes, we can continue with the launch.
Not just that. You can do absolutely anything you want.
I looked at my mom, who was still smiling. How much of the money has Poppy already spent?
Only a few million. There are still billions left. All for you, dear. What will you do first?
First, we continued with the launch of my makeup line. Then I made Poppy go back to school and I tried my best to ensure that she grew up like an ordinary child. I sent all the animals back to the zoo and donated most of her toys to charity. She didn't use most of them anyway. Happy days were over for that brat. I let my parents choose whether or not they wanted to go back to work, and they both did because they were getting bored at home. Oh, and I repainted the house. It's blue now, instead of those horrifying unicorn colors. I decided to stay in school because I believe that having a good education is important. I'm gonna go to college too, and I'll try to use my newfound fortune for good.